Hi, I'm Bob Garrett. Hackensack University Medical Center believes that all citizens need to be informed about the important health issues that affect their daily lives. That's why we're proud to support programming produced by the Caucus Educational Corporation and their partners in public television.
Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Hackensack University Health Network, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Audible.com, Investors Bank, NJIT, New Jersey Institute of Technology, United Water, making the planet sustainable is the best job on Earth, and by Cohn Resnick, Accounting, Tax, and Advisory, where forward thinking creates results. Promotional support provided by NJ.com, Small News, Big News, True Jersey, and by Commerce Magazine.
This is One-on-One.
When you first heard that they were doing Charlie Rose and Gayle King, didn't you go, what?
People like laughing at others, so I don't mind if the other is me.
See, you go right into the character. That's what it is.
I'm bringing families together a half an hour each week. Man, I'm doing something special.
And so I do feel successful.
We're here with Oren Moverman, who is the person who put this movie together, the director of Time Out of Mind, Richard Gere. Everyone is anticipating his coming here to the Montclair Film Festival, the Wellmont Theater. Tell us about this film, the importance of it.
Oh, it's too early to tell you the importance of it. I hope it will become important. It's a movie about a guy who has nowhere else to go and goes into the shelter system in New York City. So it's his process of coming to terms with the fact that he's homeless, trying to reconcile a relationship with his daughter, but it's really kind of a snapshot of the process. You're sort of walking in his shoes in New York City, going through the shelter system, the process of being taken into the system, and then the various complications and problems that come with it. I don't want to make it sound too much like a downer, but it is hopefully a humanist portrait of people we tend not to look at, and here we're sort of forced to by sheer fact that, you know, it's Richard Gere and it's this movie.
Oren, in reading about the movie, it took years to make?
It did. I was involved. I got involved only a couple of years ago. Richard received a script many years ago, a script that was already old back then, about a homeless guy, and he was kind of obsessed with it. It wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to do it. He bought the script, held on to it for a while, tried to do it in various ways, thought about directing it as well. He just couldn't let go of the idea of playing this character. And then we met. We knew each other from another movie, and we met a couple of years ago at a party, and he said, "You want to take a look at this script, see what you could make of it?" I read the script. I loved the world of it. I loved the character, and we started developing this by going to homeless shelters, by talking to people on all sides of the issue, and really trying to make a movie that there are no bad guys. Everyone's kind of stuck in the same system from different sides, and really just trying to see the humanity behind everyone's perspective.
And the key, one of the keys was Richard Gere not being recognized.
Yeah, this is something we didn't know if it was going to work.
It was risky.
It was very risky, and it was scary also because you don't know what kind of reaction it's going to provoke. But Richard was, you know, he didn't look that different from Richard Gere. He was wearing different clothes, and sometimes I guess the clothes make the man. And first thing we shot was Richard in Astor Place in Manhattan, panhandling, basically asking people for money in this monotonous voice, and nobody would look at him.
Was it a test?
It was a test, but it was a scene that we needed for the movie. It was a test to see if the concept worked. We were far away. We were hidden inside a Starbucks, which is a lot of how we shot this film, kind of a hidden camera in a way, so no one would really notice that it's a movie being made. And so once you take away the camera and you take away the recognizable aspects of Richard Gere, all of a sudden he becomes this homeless guy on the street, and no one would look at him. No one would give him money. No one would interact with him. People would start kind of try to avoid him on the street, and it was a real interesting, you know, social experiment on that level.
One more question about Richard Gere, the artist.
Well, Richard Gere, the artist, you can't talk about Richard Gere, the artist, without talking about Richard Gere, the activist and the human being. He's an incredible person. You know, I feel so honored just to know him. As an artist, he's very open. He basically opens his heart up and says, like, do what you want. What do you need? I can do this. He's very prepared. And then a lot of it comes from a really deep, you know, spiritual place that I don't know that much about, but he's been practicing for almost, 40 years. That makes him, a very special human being, the way he interacts with people, the way he cares about this issue. And what he wants to do with this movie is really take it out as a tool to start a conversation about homelessness, which is a part of, everyone's life.
Congratulations on the film.
Thanks so much.
We are honored to be joined by Richard Gere, the star of this movie. Not just, that's ridiculous to even call you that. Your colleague, Oren, was saying it took a lot of years to put this together. What did it take?
Well, I had to figure out how to do it. This script came to me, a version of the script, not this script, because Oren wrote a totally brand new script. But there was something in a script that came to me about 12 years ago. And it just stuck with me, and I kept coming back to it and coming back to it. And finally I said, look, they allowed me to buy that from people who had it. And I said, I can't figure out yet what to do with this, but I have to do it. And
Because?
it just, well, first of all, I'd been involved with the Coalition for the Homeless in New York for a long time. But aside from that, it just seemed like a movie, if I could find where the core of it was. And it was something about this character that was latent in the script that I had optioned and bought. There was relationships in it that were all powerful and hadn't emerged yet. It was like a stone where you're trying to cut a figure out of the stone and it's not emerging yet, but it's in there. And so I started chipping away at this, and I read a book by a homeless guy named Cadillac Man. It was called The Land of Lost Souls. And this is maybe 5 years ago. Got a lot of attention with the New Yorker and New York Times, and I read this book and I said, well, that's the movie. It's a neorealist film, basically, where it's not sentimental. It's not editorializing. It's basically telling what happened. And it's up to me and Oren to fill in, in the center of it somehow, that there's a human being in there. And over 2 hours, I think you get a sense of what it would be like. It's immersive that way, to be on the streets.
And for you, not being recognized by so many, which was a key to this movie, what was it
The
like?
whole design of it, it was bizarre. Well, we kind of made that decision early on. First of all, we had no money. So we had 21 days to shoot. We had a lot of prep time, so we worked on a script. We were very careful about what we were doing in the storytelling. But it was a brand new kind of storytelling. You've seen the film, so you know. It's not like a TV movie. It was a little scary when I went out there the first time, because we had totally hidden the footprint of the movie makers. The cameras were on roofs or in storefronts or under men at work tents or anything to hide. So it was basically, I was out there, and we had very long lenses. I was in character, I had the clothes on of the character. No one paid any attention. It was one of the most bizarre, profound experiences of my life, of being, as we keep talking about, it's not being invisible, it's being a black hole. It's like people afraid of being sucked into a black hole.
Well, it's an important film, and we're so glad you're here at the Montclair Film Festival, and that's why this place is packed, and you honor us by being here.
I didn't know this place, and they came to us and asked, and I said, well, I want to show this film everywhere I possibly can, because everyone has this problem. But as you know, the movie isn't just about that. It's about a very private, very delicate yearning for a place that we all have.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
Steve Adubato here at the Wellmont Theater. More importantly, this is the Montclair Film Festival. We are here for the premiere of The One That Got Away, and we're here with John Block, the director of this movie, and Steve McCarthy, the director and cameraman. The One That Got Away is all about what?
The One That Got Away is about a once promising student from Glenfield Middle School who teachers were very invested in, and who tried to keep him on the straight and narrow, and unfortunately were not able to. And this is a story that kind of traces that trail. Do you have anything that you'd like to
Talk a little bit about it, Steve.
Yeah, it's a story that's kind of rare for Montclair. Most people don't think a kid like this grows up like this in Montclair, but it does happen. It's also about teachers, though, really, and how they try every day and how they save people every day. This is the one that got away, but they have saved thousands and thousands through the years, no doubt. Kids that weren't going to maybe get a hold and be franchised in life, now they are because of these teachers.
Yeah. And the teacher we're talking about, and hopefully we'll just be talking to him in a little bit, is Dan Gill. And full disclosure, we often disclose on PBS, Dan Gill happens to be the teacher of our son, Nick, who is 12 years old. And from the first day our son met Mr. Gill, who's been teaching for a few years in Montclair?
Over 40 years.
Yeah, about 40 years plus. He told us the kind of connection that Mr. Gill made with kids. And he's an extraordinary teacher, isn't he?
Sure. I mean, really, the story about Dan Gill has another angle to it. He should tell the story about the ones who got away, thanks to Dan, because he's certainly saved a lot of lives.
So it's so interesting, you know, in the film industry, it could easily be about the young man, and a lot of this film will be about, I'm sure, the young man, and we're about to go in and see it, who got away. But in many ways, it is about Mr. Gill.
It is. It really is. And John and I are a little bit different than most filmmakers. We made this film with no money. We made it on our own time, and we made it because it was an important thing to do. Public teachers are kind of under the gun these days. They're getting attacked, sometimes by politicians. This shows how dedicated they are, year after year after year, how they work hard every day, trying to help our kids, the most important thing that we have, our children. So that's what we hope this film celebrates more than anything, is teachers, and how good they are, and how we need them, and how we should respect them.
Certainly our precious asset, that's correct.
Where did the idea even come from for the one that got away? How did it start and go from there?
It started with a mugshot in the newspaper, in the Montclair Times. And I was just trying to peel that, go behind that picture, turn that picture inside out.
Of this kid?
Of this young man, wondering who he was, and knowing that there was more to that picture than appeared. So it's
That was it?
That
You saw that picture of this young man and said, there's something there.
There's a little bit more. I saw the picture, wondered, saw his age, it correlated with my daughter's age, and asked my daughter about him, and she knew him, went to school with him. I heard her friends talking about the young man and the kind of kid that he once was, and that got me more interested.
Without giving up too much of the film, because you should make it your business to check it out, he did get away and got involved in some pretty rough stuff and some very bad decisions that were made, and some crimes that were committed. And Mr. Gill winds up trying to reconnect with this young man.
Yeah, it's an extraordinary part of the film. Without giving away too much, they do get together, and they meet, and they have a very serious discussion about what happened and where he's going, more importantly, now. I don't want to give the end of the film away, but where the future is for this young man. And Mr. Gill, there's a shot in there after it's all over that just about says it all. You know, it was an exhausting, emotionally draining episode for him, but he did it, and he's going to be connected to this kid, I think, for a long time, as we are.
What does this film festival mean to guys like you and the work you're doing?
Well, first of all, it's amazing that they've been able to launch a festival of this caliber in such short order. But it's terrific because this is an interested community, and it's great when you're celebrated by your fellow townspeople.
Congratulations on your work. Go ahead, share.
I was going to say also, too, this film for this community at this time, I think is very important. There are streets in America that are full of people who are disenfranchised, who are not being included. Right now, this is about a kid who was like that too. We hope that it starts a national discussion of what we're going to do with young people like this when they're looking like they're going the wrong way. What can we do?
We're here with Jonathan Alter. I was going to say, if you watch us on public television one-on-one, you know him, but you know him from NBC. You know him from MSNBC. He is a huge figure in the town of Montclair, and he gives back so much to this community. He's here for the Montclair Film Festival, here for this film, the one that got away. And Steve McCarthy, who's very much tied to this film, is someone you've worked with a lot. Talk about it.
Yeah, so Steve McCarthy has a lot of experience in network television. I continue to be a contributing correspondent for NBC News, and we've done about 15 pieces over the years together, with me as the correspondent and Steve shooting and editing the piece, mostly for the Today Show and NBC Nightly News. And what I really appreciate about Steve and working with him, and we did all the work in Montclair, we did it in his basement, all the editing and everything, is that
That's great by itself.
Yeah, yeah. So Steve would be on contract with NBC, and I worked there part time. It was really the pieces that we did were not about cats stuck in a tree, or some fluff celebrity piece. We did 10 pieces between 2006 and 2010 on the war at home. What happened to these veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan after they got home? Pieces on traumatic brain injury, PTSD. Some of them were inspiring stories about veterans who, after having trouble, figured out how to adjust. But stories that you didn't see enough of on network television. And they're, Steve's amazing determination to bring these stories to public attention was just kind of reflective, not just of Steve, but of this community. That it's a very, very civically and nationally engaged town. And I think people who know Montclair know that, and people who live here partly for that reason.
Let's talk about this film festival. It's not an accident that it's here.
No, it's not. It's not, because you have a lot of people from the film business and television business, journalists who are here, and then you had a few people like Bob Feinberg and
Evie Colbert.
Who.
What's her husband's? Steven.
I think the guy's name is Steven. And Evie, I heard a lot about this from as she was helping get this thing going, and they just. Most people sit around, they have ideas, yeah, let's do this, and nothing ever comes of it, right?
Not in this town.
Not in this town. So they decided this was going to happen, and from the first year, 2012, it was working. Right. It didn't even have any real growing pains. It was just a hit at the.
What does it mean to a town like this when this happens? I mean, it's 100. By the way, 100 films. The fourth year we've been doing this. 100 films. So many independent filmmakers. This particular film, the one that got away. I don't know where else you'd be able to see it. Right? It's a big deal.
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody's heard of the Toronto Film Festival,
Sundance.
Sundance. These are a long way away from New York. So other than Robert De Niro's Tribeca, you kind of have to travel. So it's great for people in the New York area. They can come out and they can see these fantastic films in Montclair. And obviously it's great for the town. I moved here 20 years ago with my family. And in that period, Montclair has become a restaurant mecca for northern New Jersey. And now it's also a film mecca. That's pretty great. I mean, what else can you
There's no other community.
Yeah.
Jonathan, talk about some of your work. We were just talking before we got on the air that technology is a big part of the filmmaking industry, the documentary part of the industry. Talk about that, because you really care about that deeply.
So I think that, there's been this enormous disruption.
By the way, what you hear is the crowd going into the one that got away. It's a huge crowd coming to see this movie. By the way, Jonathan's came here to see it as well.
I did. I very much came to see this film. And John Block, who I've known from working with him at NBC, is a very talented filmmaker, so I'm sure that he and Steve have put together something amazing. But so, you and I are in a business that's been heavily disrupted, right? I worked at Newsweek for 28 years until 2011, and then the world kind of was exploding in ways that were very disorienting for people in mainstream journalism. And, we all had to scramble, and now I do 4 or 5 things.
Out of necessity.
Out of necessity, and also because it's exciting. So I do television news. I write a column for the Daily Beast. I'm producing a television show on Amazon. It stars John Goodman.
Remind folks what that
it's
is.
called Alpha House, about 4.
And Mark Consuelos?
Mark Consuelos is in it, yeah. And Clark Johnson and Matt Malloy and Wanda Sykes.
The film that Jonathan came to see along with these other folks, the one that got away. Real quick, say something about this film. I know you haven't seen it. I'm going in to see it with our 12-year-old son. What are you excited about in terms of this film?
Well, this is about really the most important domestic problem that we have, which is we're letting very talented young people be crushed by circumstance and losing losing the best years of their lives. And there's been a lot of publicity about incarceration, but what's great about this is it takes this very complex social issue and it brings it home literally to Montclair.
Very human.
And you know, the idea behind it is really a kind of a brilliant way of creating a microcosm of this very tragic situation that unfortunately hundreds of thousands of people in the United States face. That doesn't excuse what this young man did. You can have compassion and understanding about the way these things happen without rationalizing or excusing crime. But this more sophisticated understanding of these issues that we all need, when it can be done and done about our town and done by one of the most revered teachers in our community.
Dan Gill.
Dan Gill, famous throughout Montclair as the best of what Montclair has to offer in its school system. It's just the perfect kind of package for looking at this issue.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato, PhD, and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
People are filing into the movie The One That Got Away, and this is Mr. Dan Gill, the teacher who people will see in this movie. We're just talking to the filmmakers who made it happen, the director. Mr. Gill, I call you Mr. Gill because our son Nick, who's actually here, along with a lot of other young people, come to see the movie. Talk about this movie and why it's so special.
Well, the movie is special because I think it's about what teachers do each and every day. And I hope that when people see the documentary, they will see it in a broader aspect about what the role of public education is in our society and what the things that we do and some of the limits that we have and the resources we need to do better jobs with young people like this, and to remind ourselves of the fact that we do have a responsibility to make sure that young people not only grow academically but socially and emotionally as well.
The young man in this movie, talk about him.
A young man who came into my class, was brilliant.
His name?
Great kid. His name is Ture Moses, and just sparkling kid, enthusiastic, a kind of kid that I thought was going to, the sky was the limit. And unfortunately ran into home situations and family situations which really prevented him from reaching that potential. And most notably the fact that the parents just didn't respond to what his needs were. And as much as we tried to help him and guide him, unfortunately the streets took over and guided him to the place where he is today. And our hope is that that doesn't happen anymore, that it's a reminder to all of us, again, of what we have to do to help kids. And I think that he's the kind of kid that's going to respond to what's happening to him right now. And I really have the highest of hopes that when he gets out, that he's going to make him...
out of prison.
Yeah, when he gets out of prison, that he'll be a kind of a citizen that we would be proud of.
If I can ask you this, Mr. Gill, without giving away too much of the film, when you went to prison to speak to him, how emotional was that for you?
That was very emotional because it's when you see somebody that you really love and just
love.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we do. You have to embrace these kids, and because they don't have a lot of love in their lives, and that may be a strong statement for some people, but not for me. I think that's what you really do. You want the best for them, just like you would of your own children, and that's a kind of love. And so when he was there, he apologized to me and so on, and it was like, oh God, you don't have to apologize to me. What you have to do is you have to figure out what you did wrong and get out of this situation and improve upon your life, because you still have a lot of your life left when you get out of here. So I think that, but it was extremely emotional. But it was a reminder of me and to the other folks who were in his life that whatever responsibility is, and to try to prevent this from happening again.
To be clear, without giving away too much, talking about horrifically violent crimes here. And Mr. Gill went there, and this film speaks for itself. But your colleagues who made this film, the director and the cameraman, were also talking about the thousands and thousands of young people that you have taught over the years that did not get away. Does that doesn't make up for any of that, does it?
Oh, it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of like, it's not so much of a scale. But it reminds you have to be reminded.
Is it personal?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. I'm like an athlete.
What do you mean by?
I mean, if I lose, it hurts. It hurts. Yeah. You know, I mean,
Did you lose this? Well, why are you saying you lost it?
But when you lose a kid, I don't mean so much me, but you lose somebody, you had some control over that kid's life, and you feel like you let that kid down. And so, that might be stretching it again, but the point is that when you look at it, every kid that walks in your classroom is entrusted to you by the parents. The parents are saying to you, we trust you with our kid, and I take that extremely responsibly in what I do. So what the film has done, though, I can tell you the positive aspect of it is that I've been contacted by a lot of kids who were where Touré was, who didn't fall. And that's been really cool. That's been really great. And it's, again, a reminder of what we do. And so, because sometimes you get caught up in the minutia of every day, and you don't realize how important you are to the lives of some people.
On behalf of all of us, parents who have children in public schools, we say thank you to you in particular, and also to all of your colleagues as public school teachers.
Well, thank you, Steve. I appreciate that.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Hackensack University Health Network, Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, Audible.com, Investors Bank, NJIT, United Water, and by Cone Resnick. Transportation provided by Airbrook Limousine, serving the metropolitan New York, New Jersey area.
There is a place that pushes beyond traditional thinking to take medicine further than ever before, where science and creativity work together to give heart and cancer patients new possibilities, and researchers discover options for children who once had none. A place that proves every day that impossible is just an opinion. Hackensack University Medical Center, where medicine meets innovation.